Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is Linthio, coming at you with an updated version of my UA.deck after Secrets of Eternity. Now, this deck has got some support in the most recent set, and it is it's not bad support. It's not the greatest, but it can kind of make some interesting plays. So I'll go through it now and explain them to you and my card choices and why they are there. So to start off, we have the One Playmaker. This is an interesting card that has kind of OTK potential written all over it. You boost up another UA monster's attack by 800, and this card then loses 800. So it turns Slugger into a massive card, and that is just really difficult for your opponent to start getting over. It turns it into a 3-1 even without the stadium stack that you put on top of it. So it's a really nice card. It's fairly beefy, but 2-6 is not that great. A level 8 is kind of alright, but it's only enough to run it at 1. One of the better ones is UA Block Backer. Every time I want to say back blocker. Anyway, this is a really important card for the deck, and it's a really solid card. Basically, the main effect is once per turn, when your opponent special summons a monster, you can change their battle position, and if you do, negate their effects. 2-7 defense, negating the effects is really solid, and having this and, for example, Goalkeeper or Ace is putting up a really solid wall that your opponent has to try and get over. The attack's 1-6 is not bad. It goes up to 2-1 when you stack with Stadium, so it's a really solid card. I really do like it, and it's actually a really nice addition to UAs. Then we have the One UA Goalkeeper, another big wall. He's here just for general protection. If you're in a bit of a struggle, it's just nice to kind of protect your other monsters. As I said, these two together is quite a nice little lock and wall that your opponent can't normally get over. Then we have 2 UA Perfect Ace, or Perfect Ass, as you know, this German card is. But Ace has been cut down to 2 from 3 because there's just so much lack of space in this deck. It's unbelievable, and especially the version that I'm running. I do want to point out right now I'm running a turbo version, kind of, because that's how I think this deck should run. There isn't that much back row going around currently with the main decks, apart from the vanities, but yeah, anyway, so Ace is a really solid card. This with the block back is really nice, and also with Goalkeeper it's really nice as well. The main card in the deck, in my opinion, is Slugger. This card is just incredible, and against the meta, it's amazing on its own, and even with Powered Jersey and Stadium stacks, it's just so good. You stop your opponent's Dante, you stop your opponent's searches, you stop everything. It's just so good. Really solid card, I really do like it, and you can cut it down to 2 if you so wish, but I would never go lower than that because it's one of your main cards that you do want to see. And then the other main card that you want to see is UA Midfielder, your only level 4 monster from the UA archetype. And I think that's a real mistake on Konami's part. I really feel that this deck needs another normal summonable monster that's level 4 or lower, because you just need to get it off. If you don't see this card or you don't see a Rota, it's kind of difficult to get going because you'll be stuck with some maybe high level monsters in your hands and you can't really summon them. I have taken some steps to improve on that, which you'll see soon, but UA Midfielder is one of the most imperative cards in the deck because it gets everything going. This in Stadium first turn is really solid. 2 Summoner Monk, this is hit because of Midfielder. You want to see it as early as possible, and I run a lot of spells. So you want to see Summoner Monk if you don't see the UA Midfielder. So going on to the spells, we have 3 Stadium, one of the most important cards in the deck, among many you might say, but Stadium is incredibly important because not only does it get you those searches, it also gets those stacks, and those stacks build up pretty good. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically when a UA monster is normal summoned, you can search the deck for another UA monster, and when a UA monster is special summoned, all monsters on your side of the field that you currently control gain 500 attack. So it's really nice. You do want to see this as early as possible as well, because it brings off some real nice combos. The nice thing about running Stadium in this current state of the game is that obviously we have the new rule on the field spells where they don't go, so it's just really nice, and it actually improves on field spells. I know that was introduced a long time ago now, or it might seem like a long time, but nevertheless it just helps the deck. 3 power jersey. This card is so ridiculous with Slugger. This in Slugger is basically, you're nearly killing your opponent. Because not only does it double the damage, it then, and it obviously increases the attack. It doubles the damage and you also get to attack again. So jersey's incredibly, incredibly useful. And you really, really want to see this as much as possible. I wish there was a kind of themed card that allowed you to search out the UA spells. But maybe in the future, who knows. So this is where the build takes a little bit of a different direction, and it's reasoning. So the reason why I play reasoning is you want to try and get to the big UAs as quickly as possible. You want to see that back blocker. You want to see maybe the playmaker. You want to see ace and goalkeeper. You want to see all of these as soon as possible. And with reasoning gone to 3, it's a really solid card because, as you'll see with some other cards, you can actually use them in the grave and so on and so forth. But reasoning first turn is a really solid move because the chances are you're going to be able to see your big UA monsters straight away. And kind of this with a stadium and a midfield is really nice because it sets you up nicely for turnover tactics first turn straight away. So reasoning is really good. It's working out incredibly well. And it just, for me, is better over the tour guide engine in this current moment in time with the way that I want to bring the deck forward. 3 rotor, you want to see midfield as quickly as you can, and it's also fodder for summoners? Summoner Monk. The 3 MST, really don't need to say much about this because it's very imperative in the current game that you have MSTs for back rows. You don't want to get fire laked or anything like that, and no, MST does not negate. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you play it right, you can MST it in the end phase. 3 Upstart Goblin, you don't mind giving your opponent life points. You want to see the cards as quickly as possible, just because Slugger and Jersey are a thing, so you can quite happily give your opponent an extra 3k because it's going to go very soon. 2 Terraforming, I can't bring this up to 3 because it just sucks so hard having this all the time. Having a UA midfielder with 3 rotor is better than not seeing the stadium, but you can argue either way. But personally, I just want to keep it to 2 terraforming because, you know, it sucks. But I really wish that they would bring out a card where you can search the spells because there's now 3 of them in the game. And the other one is a turnover tactics. So this card is an interesting card nevertheless. I'm going to read it out for you if you don't know what it does. It's a quick play spell. If you control 2 or more UA monsters with different names, shuffle as many monsters on the field as possible into the deck. Then special summon UA monsters from the deck that have different names from each other, up to the number of monsters that you shuffle back into the main deck. Now the important thing there is the main deck. But those monsters cannot attack for the turn, so it just means that you can't kind of OTK, even though it would have been nice if you could, but it might have been a little bit too ridiculous. Then your opponent can special summon monsters from their deck up to the number of cards shuffled into the main deck. That's for them, and you can only activate it once per turn. So you can get rid of your opponent's XZ monsters, their synchros, anything like that. All their extract monsters you can get rid of because it doesn't go back to the main deck and they just basically lose out. You can argue that it's a bit difficult to get 2 of your UA monsters onto the field at the same time. While that is true, that's why I've gone for the reasoning build, because it just helps with the fact that you can get more on the field at the time. And turnover tactics, when used right, is a really solid card and can put your opponent in a very, very difficult situation. The amount of times I've sent back 2 Dante to my opponent's extra deck and made them just quit is absolutely incredible. So it is a pretty solid card, and it's just something that is quite nice, but at this current moment in time it's not the greatest, and it's not worthy to go to 3 because it's too cloggy, and at times it can be very situational and a horrible top deck. 2 Hidden Armory, we have 4 targets. We have the Jersey, and obviously we have the 1 Snatch Steal, which you'll see soon. With Reasoning, it just means that you can happily mill your equips and then get them back with Hidden Armory. Nice thing with Hidden Armory and Reasoning is you can still activate Hidden Armory and also Reasoning in the same turn, because it just means you can't normal summon. While that does shut off your Stadium midfielder search, it's just where you don't have to activate this. It's good to just set up first, and then when you feel comfortable you can go for the Hidden Armory. So that's why I run it at 2. The one Soul Charge, because Soul Charge is incredible and in this deck anyway, and you can perform some nice locks, and the one Snatch Steal to go with Hidden Armory and all that. So going on to the extra deck. The extra deck doesn't actually mean anything. You can make of it what you want, you can put in whatever you want, but the chances are you really don't go into the extra deck all that much. The only things you'll really be hitting are the rank 4s, but I'll show you the ones that I have in here. So you have one Tyrius, one Durandal, just for any annoying back row cards, or if I want to, get a better hand. The one Volcasaurus. I also want to say that I do play 2 block backer, as you saw, so you can run some rank 7s if you so wish. But I never happens for me. The 2 Castel, because as I've always said, it's one of the best cards, extra deck cards of the format. The 1 Exeter Knight, just to get rid of the field. The 1 Larval Chain, in case you want to put anything in the grave or put anything on top of the deck for some next turn plays. The 1 Daigusto Emerald, just in case I'm running out of monsters and want to get another draw. Heartline Draco, not too bad, you can attack your opponent for 2,000. The 1 Gandiva, because UA midfielder is a warrior. The 1 Gagaga Cowboy, if I want to shoot for game. Abyss Dweller, in case I go up against any graveyard-based decks. The 1 Kargon, standard. The 1 Rhapsody Berserk, because getting rid of cards in your opponent's graveyard is always a good thing. And finally, the 1 Ragnar Zero, because it's a very solid card. But as I said, you don't really go into the extra deck all that much, if I'm completely honest. Out of, say, a match, you'll only really go into it once, maybe twice at a stretch. It all depends on what you go up against. Because at the end of the day, the monsters in the main deck are the main things, and they're the better choices, trust me. So that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile of my new UAs. This is more of a turbo version, as you saw. With Reasoning, it opens you up to be able to put in things like Skill Prisoner and Breakthrough Skills, cards that work in the graveyards, maybe the Mischief of the Gnome, or Gnome Mischief, whichever, the new Common Trap card that came out that reduces monsters in your hands by 1, the levels. So that's quite an interesting card you might want to play with. The reason why I don't use that card is because it's a little too slow for my liking. And with Breakthrough and also with Skill Prisoner, they are good cards. But for me, as I said, it's a little bit too slow with the way that I want to construct this deck currently and the way I want to play it. So, as I said, let me know down in the comment section below what you actually think of the deck and UAs in general. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall catch you guys